Right now, as you sit here watching this, your kidneys are filtering your blood. Every single minute, every single hour, they never stop. And here is what terrifies me. If you are over 60, there is a very real chance that your kidneys have already lost close to 40% of their filtering power, and you have absolutely no idea. No pain, no obvious symptoms. Just a slow, quiet decline that most doctors do not even test for until the damage is severe enough to land you in a hospital bed, hooked up to a dialysis machine 3 times a week. I need you to understand something. Kidney failure does not announce itself. It whispers, and by the time you hear the whisper, you may have already crossed a line you cannot uncross. My own mother came to me 15 years ago with swollen ankles, exhaustion that would not lift, and nights broken into pieces by 4, sometimes 5 trips to the bathroom. She was 71. I examined her. I ran her labs. And even with 23 years of medical training behind me, I almost missed what was actually happening inside her body. Her kidneys were struggling, not failing yet, but struggling. And every single thing she was eating, every habit she thought was healthy, was making it worse. That experience changed how I practice medicine. It changed how I think about kidneys. And it is going to change how you think about them too. Because today I am going to show you 4 specific foods that research from Johns Hopkins University and other major institutions confirms can protect and even restore kidney function in older adults. And the last one I am going to share with you. That one surprised even me. Stay with me for that. But first, how old are you? Just type your age in the comments right now. I am curious because what I am about to share hits differently depending on where you are in your health journey. Go ahead, drop that number now. Here is what most people do not understand about their kidneys, and honestly, it is not your fault that you do not understand it. The system is designed to keep you in the dark. Your doctor has 7 minutes with you. 7 minutes to check your blood pressure, review your medications, ask about your symptoms, and rush to the next patient. There is no billable code for sitting down and explaining to you how your kidneys actually work. There is no insurance reimbursement for teaching you which foods heal and which foods destroy. So you leave that appointment with a prescription, maybe 2, and 0 understanding of what is happening inside your own body. Let me change that right now. Here is what I want you to understand. Your kidneys are not just filters. Think of them more like the water treatment plant for your entire city. Every drop of blood in your body passes through them roughly 40 times a day. They decide what stays and what goes. They balance your minerals. They regulate your blood pressure. They even activate vitamin D for your bones. When this treatment plant starts breaking down, everything downstream suffers. Your ankles swell because fluid builds up. Your blood pressure climbs because sodium is not being cleared properly. You wake up 3, 4, 5 times a night because your kidneys are working overtime in the dark, trying to catch up on the filtering they could not finish during the day. That is called nocturia. And if you are experiencing it, I need you to pay very close attention to what comes next, because the foods you eat are either giving your kidneys a gift or handing them a burden they can no longer carry. Let me tell you about Sandra. She represents a pattern I have seen dozens of times in my practice. Sandra is 67 years old, retired postal worker from Virginia, walked her route for 31 years in rain, snow, heat. Tough woman, independent, the kind of person who does not complain. But when she finally sat across from me, something was different. Picture her leaning forward, hands folded tight. She said, "Doctor, I have not slept through the night in 2 years. I am up 4 or 5 times. My ankles look like softballs by evening, and I am so tired during the day that I fell asleep at my granddaughter's birthday party. I am 67, and I feel like I am 90. Her doctor had told her this was just aging, just a normal part of getting older. I hear that phrase and it makes my blood boil. Because what he should have said was, "Sandra, your kidneys need help, and here is exactly what you can do about it." I will come back to Sandra's story in a moment, because what happened to her over the next 3 months is remarkable. But first, I need to explain the mechanism behind kidney decline, because once you understand the why, the solution will make perfect sense. Here is what nobody tells you about aging kidneys. Starting around age 40, your kidneys lose roughly 1% of their filtering capacity every single year. 1%. That sounds small, but by age 65, you may have lost 25 25%, by 75 up to 35 or even 40%. And here is the critical part. The foods most Americans eat every day are accelerating that decline dramatically. High animal protein diets, processed sodium, refined sugars, these are not just bad for your heart. They are grinding your kidneys into the ground. Let me explain this simply. When you eat a large steak or a big serving of processed meat, your body breaks that protein down into a waste product called urea. Your kidneys have to filter that urea out of your blood and send it out through your urine. That is their job. But when you eat large amounts of animal protein day after day, decade after decade, the volume of urea your kidneys have to process becomes enormous. It is like running a washing machine nonstop for 40 years without ever cleaning the filter. Eventually, that filter clogs, it strains, it starts to fail. A 2022 study published in the American Journal of Kidney Diseases followed over 12,000 adults for nearly a decade. What they found was striking. Those who consumed the highest amounts of animal protein had a 43% greater risk of kidney function decline compared to those who ate more plant-based protein. 43%. Let that number sit with you for a moment. Now, here is where it gets really interesting, because the solution is not about eating less. It is about eating differently. And the 4 foods I am about to share with you are not expensive supplements from a specialty store. They are ordinary, affordable foods you can find at any grocery store. Some of them might already be sitting in your kitchen right now. And this brings me back to Sandra, because the first thing I changed in her diet was something so simple it almost sounds insulting: beans. I told Sandra to eat beans 4 to 5 times a week. She looked at me like I had lost my mind. She said, "Doctor, I have been eating beans my whole life. How is that going to help my kidneys?" And that is the exact question I want you to be asking right now. Here is what makes beans different from almost every other protein source. Pay close attention to this. The fiber in beans, and there is a remarkable amount of it, works like a pre-filter for your kidneys. It binds to toxins and waste products in your digestive system before they ever reach your bloodstream. Think about that. Your kidneys never even have to deal with those toxins because the fiber swept them out first. It is like having someone pre-sort the garbage before it gets to the water treatment plant. Less work, less strain, less damage over time. But here is the part that surprised even me. A 2021 meta-analysis in the journal Nutrients reviewed 14 studies involving over 300,000 participants. They found that higher dietary fiber intake was associated with a 26% lower risk of chronic kidney disease. 26% from fiber, not from an expensive medication, not from a procedure, from beans. Now I need to be crystal clear about something. If you have advanced kidney disease, stage 4 or 5, and your doctor has told you to restrict potassium, you need to talk to your doctor before increasing your bean intake. Beans do contain potassium. But here is what most people do not realize. The potassium in plant foods like beans is absorbed differently than potassium from animal sources or supplements. Your body handles it more gradually. A 2020 study in the Clinical Journal of the American Society of Nephrology confirmed that plant-based potassium sources were associated with better outcomes than animal-based sources in patients with moderate kidney disease. But if you are on potassium-restricted diets or taking potassium-sparing medications like spironolactone, please check with your doctor first. This is important. Sandra started with black beans and lentils, 3 times a week at first, then 4, then 5. She made bean soup. She put lentils in salads. She mashed them with olive oil and garlic as a side dish. Simple, cheap. A can of beans costs less than $1. But beans were only part 1 of what I recommended. The second food was tofu. And before you scroll past this thinking tofu is some exotic health food you would never eat, stay with me, because the science behind this one is powerful. Remember what I explained about urea? That waste product your kidneys have to filter out every time you eat protein? Here is the key. Plant-based protein like tofu creates significantly less urea than animal protein. You get the same protein doing the same jobs, building muscle, repairing cells, supporting your immune system, but with a fraction of the filtering burden on your kidneys. For someone over 60, that difference is not a minor detail. It is everything. A study published in the Journal of Renal Nutrition in 2019 found that patients who replaced even 30% of their animal protein with plant-based protein showed measurable improvements in kidney filtration markers within 6 months. 30%. That is not asking you to become vegetarian. That is asking you to swap out a few meals a week. Tofu is also naturally low in phosphorus and sodium in the amounts your body absorbs. For kidneys that are already working harder than they should be, that is a genuine gift. If this information is new to you, hit that like button right now so the algorithm shows this video to someone who needs to hear it. You clicking that button costs you nothing, but it could change someone's life. Now here is where Sandra's story takes an interesting turn. She came back after 6 weeks, and I need to be honest with you. She was not thrilled. She sat down and said, "Doctor, the beans are fine, the tofu took some getting used to, but I am still getting up 3 times a night. Is this actually working?" This is the part I want you to hear, because most people quit at exactly this point. 6 weeks in, not seeing dramatic results, and they go back to their old habits. But I told Sandra what I am going to tell you right now. Your kidneys did not get damaged overnight. They have been declining slowly for decades. You cannot reverse decades of damage in 6 weeks. Week 1 through 3, your body is adjusting. Your gut bacteria are shifting. The inflammation in your kidneys is just beginning to cool down. Week 4 through 6, the real changes are happening at a cellular level, but you may not feel them yet. Week 7 through 12, that is when most of my patients call me with excitement in their voice. That is when the numbers start moving. That is when the sleep starts improving. The discomfort of changing your diet for a few weeks is temporary. Dialysis 3 times a week for the rest of your life is permanent. I need you to weigh those 2 options carefully. Now, the third food I want to talk about is something you probably already have in your kitchen: an apple. Every single morning, I want you to eat an apple. Here is why this matters so much for your kidneys. Apples are one of the only naturally sweet foods that are genuinely low in the 3 minerals kidneys struggle with most: potassium, phosphorus, and sodium. Finding something sweet that does not compromise kidney function is rare. But here is the fascinating part. Apples contain a flavonoid called quercetin, and quercetin is a powerful anti-inflammatory compound. Now, chronic inflammation is, according to a 2023 review in the journal Kidney International, one of the primary drivers of progressive kidney disease. Inflamed kidneys cannot filter efficiently. They hold on to fluid, they struggle to process waste, the swelling, the heavy legs, the bathroom trips at night. All of those symptoms trace back to inflammation in your kidney tissue. Quercetin pushes back against that inflammation, quietly, consistently, every single day. An apple does not taste like medicine. It does not cost more than 50 cents, and it works. Now I need to pause here because there is one more food I have not told you about yet. And honestly, this is the one that ties everything together. It is the one that made the biggest difference for Sandra. But before I get to that, let me tell you what happened in Sandra's 3rd month. Here is something you need to know about Sandra's 2nd month, because this is the part where most people fail, and I need you to hear it so you do not make the same mistake. During her 2nd month, Sandra almost quit. Not because the food was hard, because her friends told her she was being ridiculous. She heard, "You are wasting your time with tofu and beans. Just take the pills the doctor gives you." And she hesitated. She called me one evening, frustrated. She said, "Doctor, everyone thinks I am crazy." And I told her what I will tell you right now. The people who think you are crazy for changing your diet are the same people who will be sitting in a dialysis chair wondering what went wrong. You are not crazy. You are informed. There is a difference. And here is something else that connects directly to everything I have been explaining. Most seniors are chronically dehydrated, not because they do not drink water, but because they drink it wrong. Gulping down a large glass of cold water all at once is like trying to water a garden with a fire hose. The soil cannot absorb it, the water runs off, and your kidneys have to work overtime to process the sudden flood. Sipping room temperature water throughout the day is like a gentle soaking rain. Your cells hydrate properly. Your kidneys handle the volume gradually, without strain. A study from Tufts University found that adequate hydration alone improved kidney filtration rate by up to 7% in older adults. 7% from water, but only when consumed gradually throughout the day. The food industry has spent decades convincing you that processed convenience foods are acceptable, that frozen dinners and canned soups and deli meats are fine in moderation. But for your kidneys, moderation of toxic food is still toxic. The sodium in a single frozen dinner can be 1,200 milligrams. Your kidneys have to filter every single milligram. Every time you eat one of those meals, you are asking a 65-year-old water treatment plant to process industrial waste. The 4 foods I am showing you today do the opposite. They reduce the load, they cool the inflammation, they support the bacteria that act as your kidney's first line of defense. And they cost less per week than a single copay at your doctor's office. By month 3, Sandra's friends stopped laughing. One of them actually called me asking what Sandra was doing, because Sandra looked better. She was sleeping better. She had more energy than women 10 years younger. Sandra messaged me on a Tuesday morning. I remember because the message came in at 6:15 a.m. She wrote, "Doctor, I slept through the night. The whole night. I woke up at 5:45 and I just lay there staring at the ceiling because I could not believe it. No bathroom trips, no swelling when I stood up. I cried." Now Sandra's results were on the better end of what I typically see. Not everyone will respond as quickly. Some patients see changes in 8 weeks, some take 14 weeks. What matters is the direction. And the research consistently shows that the majority of people who make these dietary changes do see meaningful improvement in kidney markers within 3 to 6 months. But here is the critical question. What was the fourth food that made the difference? Plain yogurt, not the sweetened flavored varieties that are essentially dessert in disguise. Plain yogurt, or Greek yogurt when you want something thicker and higher in protein. And this is where most people get it wrong. They think kidneys and gut are separate systems. They are not. They are profoundly connected. And this connection is one of the most important discoveries in kidney research in the last decade. Here is what I need you to understand. When your gut bacteria are balanced and healthy, they break down waste products before those waste products ever reach your bloodstream. A healthy gut microbiome can actually convert certain toxins into harmless compounds right there in your digestive system, before your kidneys ever have to deal with them. Think of it like having a cleaning crew that catches the mess before it reaches the main water treatment plant. A 2021 study published in the Journal of the American Society of Nephrology found that patients with chronic kidney disease who consumed probiotics regularly showed a significant reduction in uremic toxins in their blood. These are the exact toxins that damage kidney tissue and accelerate decline. When your gut bacteria are out of balance, which happens from poor diet, chronic stress, antibiotics, and dozens of other factors, more of those toxins make it into your blood, and your kidneys bear the entire burden. By eating plain yogurt daily, you are supporting the cleaning crew. You are reducing the workload on your kidneys every single day. The calcium and B12 in yogurt also support bone density and energy. Your body is one system. When you care for one part of it thoughtfully, the benefits ripple outward. Now, let me give you the exact protocol, because vague advice helps nobody. Morning. Eat 1 medium apple with 2 to 3 tablespoons of plain yogurt. Room temperature water first thing, about 8 ounces, before anything else. Not cold water. Room temperature. Your kidneys process room temperature water more efficiently. Lunch. Include beans or lentils as a main protein source. Half a cup cooked is a good serving size. Black beans, kidney beans, or lentils all work. If you are using canned beans, rinse them under water for 30 seconds to remove excess sodium. Dinner. Include tofu 2 to 3 times per week as your primary protein. A serving is about 3 to 4 ounces. Pan-fried in a small amount of olive oil with garlic and herbs works well. The key is replacing some of your animal protein meals, not necessarily all of them. Even swapping 3 dinners a week makes a measurable difference. Before bed, another 8 ounces of room temperature water, but stop drinking 2 hours before your usual bedtime to reduce nighttime trips. Now I need to be crystal clear about medications. If you are taking ACE inhibitors or ARBs for blood pressure, these medications affect how your kidneys handle potassium. Adding high potassium foods without monitoring could be dangerous. If you are on diuretics like furosemide, increasing water and food intake needs to be coordinated with your doctor. If you have diabetes and take metformin, kidney function directly affects how your body processes that medication. Do not make dramatic dietary changes without talking to your doctor first. Bring this video to your next appointment. Print out the references in the description below. A good doctor will welcome this conversation. Here is what to expect week by week. And I am telling you this because I do not want you to quit before the breakthrough comes. Week 1. You will probably notice more frequent urination during the day. This is normal. Your kidneys are adjusting to better hydration and different fuel. It is annoying. It is temporary. Push through. Week 2 to 3. Your energy may start to improve slightly. The daytime fatigue that comes from poor kidney function begins to lift. Your ankles may show less swelling in the evenings. Week 4 to 6. This is where most people notice real changes. Sleep improves. Nighttime bathroom trips decrease from 4 or 5 down to 1 or 2. Sandra was down to 1 trip by week 5. Week 8 to 12. Blood work improvements become measurable. Your doctor may see improvement in your GFR, that is glomerular filtration rate, the number that tells you how well your kidneys are actually filtering. Some of my patients have seen their GFR improve by 8 to 12 points in this window. That is meaningful. That is the difference between watching kidney disease progress and watching it stabilize. I know what some of you are thinking right now. This sounds too simple. Beans and tofu and apples and yogurt? That is it? And I understand that skepticism. I was skeptical too when I first saw the research. But then I watched it work in patient after patient after patient. And the science is not ambiguous. The American Journal of Kidney Diseases, the Journal of the American Society of Nephrology, the Journal of Renal Nutrition, these are not fringe publications. These are the gold standard of kidney research, and they are all pointing in the same direction. So I want you to ask yourself something honestly. Is 90 days of eating differently worth avoiding a future where you spend 3 mornings every week sitting in a dialysis chair for 4 hours, watching your blood cycle through a machine because your kidneys can no longer do the job themselves? Is the mild inconvenience of learning to cook lentils worth keeping your independence? Is trying tofu twice a week really too much to ask when the alternative is losing the ability to live in your own home? Sandra asked me that same question, and then she thought about her granddaughter's face at that birthday party. The one where she fell asleep because she was so exhausted from kidney decline she could not stay awake to watch a 6-year-old blow out candles. Sandra is now 68. She sleeps through the night most nights. Her GFR improved by 11 points in 6 months. Her ankles are normal. She walks her old postal route 3 mornings a week for exercise now. And last month she told me something that stays with me. She said, "Doctor, I feel like I got my life back, not a new life, my old life, the one where I was strong." Now here is what I did not tell you today. There is one thing that most seniors do every single morning that is silently accelerating kidney damage. One habit so common that nobody questions it. And the research behind it will change how you start your day forever. That is next week's video. But right now, I need something from you. If you watched this entire video, type the words I finished in the comments. And then I want you to share this with one person. Your mother, your father, your spouse, your neighbor who has been complaining about swollen ankles. Because the information in this video could change their life the way it changed Sandra's. Your kidneys are resilient. They want to heal. They are designed to heal when you give them the right support. And that support does not require expensive treatments or complicated protocols. It requires beans and tofu and apples and plain yogurt. It requires patience. It requires consistency. And above all, it requires you believing that your body is still capable of getting better. Because it is. I have seen it happen hundreds of times, and I am telling you right now, it can happen for you. The fact that you are still watching this video tells me something important about you. It tells me you are not the kind of person who gives up. You are not the kind of person who accepts this is just how it is. You are a fighter, and fighters deserve the right information. Do not let anyone tell you it is too late, because it is not. I have seen patients in their 70s and 80s turn their kidney numbers around. I have watched people go from 4 bathroom trips a night to sleeping peacefully until morning. It happens, and it can happen for you. Everything I share is based on published research and clinical experience. But your health is unique. Always confirm with your personal doctor before making changes. References are in the description below. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next one.